Montel from Triple M Enterprise, delighted to be joined by professional boxing coach Andy Gill. How are you doing?
Nice to meet you, Montel.
Good to
Doing
see
really
you.
well, thank you.
Good, and first of all, thank you for allowing me down to this gym. I love the graffiti.
Thank you.
Let's just touch on that first of all.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
actually did this?
Something a little bit different. There's a gentleman called Mark Hill. He's actually a friend of Banksy's. And he come down and done it, yeah. So he's a very good artist, yeah. He's done some major bits for us in here.
Post interview, I'm actually going to get the full scope of how good that actually looks. But to get on to you, so let's strip away the fact of the current state of affairs, which is obviously Yaser, his fight. Let's talk about you as the boxing coach. How did you know this is what I wanted to become, a boxing coach?
I've done a little bit of amateur fighting. Wasn't very technical. The coaches I was around didn't really spend time with me or give me time. You know, it's more like here's a skipping rope, Gill, going a corner skip and stuff like that. And then, I don't know, when I was getting to about, I think about 30, and I was at St Pancras training there, and I thought, I could do this. Like, you know, I could teach people. And I started working at loads of amateur clubs. You know, I started at Northolt in the old concrete shed. We started there, then Northolt I was at. Hayes was there. Then I was at St Albans, Wickham Warriors, and IQ in Neaston. And I got ill about 10 years ago. So I'd done all this part-time coaching and I worked full-time, and then I got ill. I got cancer. And I felt like I haven't fulfilled what I wanted to do in life. And when I was younger, I was in care, and boxing kind of was my family, and it gave me discipline and respect and manners, and it led me, you know, to where I am today. So when I got ill, I was laying in bed and I was thinking to myself, you know, I'm going to get better, and when I do, I'm going to commit, and I'm going to get my own club. I'm going to get my own fighters, and I'm going to develop them, and I'm going to win championships, and I had all these big ideas in my head. And I shut down my company. I had about between 8 and 12 people working for me. So I give them all notice, 12 months notice, and we just worked the company down into the ground. And then I started with this. And yeah, just built this up, had some really good amateurs here, won some tournaments, won the Box Cup, won some Southern Area titles, English titles. And it's funny, this interview about 3 hours ago, I was at the finals of the national developments with a kid called Cuba. He lost on a split, but he's only had 7 fights. You know, 7 fights and second best development champion in the countries. You know, it's big. From that, I've had people that wanted to turn over pro. Jamie Smith was the first one that turned over pro, and when he turned over, he just said to me, I don't want to be with anybody else, and I didn't have a pro license, so I went and done the course, went and done the interview in front of the board, passed it, and yeah, just full steam ahead. 6 years, 6 titles in 6 years, and now Yaz is fighting for a WBO European title, which is, you know, most people, it's nothing. To me, it's a world title. It's the next stage up for us, you know. So yeah, that's my little journey.
I mean, you covered that up very quickly, and we'll get into that in more detail, and then definitely another interview, a proper sit-down one again, similar to this.
Yeah.
But let's talk about obviously your journey with Yaser. I've asked him separately about obviously how he partnered up with you, but talk to me about your point of view and how that happened and how it's been.
Yeah, it's always called me uncle. So in the amateurs, I was uncle. We met each other all over the place. He was with Finchley, and then he went to Islington, and we met and we got on really well. You know, he was a cheeky chap, wasn't he? You know, getting himself into bits of bother, and you know, doing things that you shouldn't do, and involved with people that you shouldn't be around. But you know, he was always polite to me. Always had good manners, and you know, whenever he had a problem, he'd always give me a shout. You know, and then when he actually started his pro career with IQ, he worked under me as well. So IQ and me, we used to do, you know, I used to do all the strength and conditioning, inside body work with the boys, and stuff like that, get them fit. So I've got photographs of Yaz here 7 years ago doing stuff with me. And then we were in contact on a regular basis, and he wanted to quit boxing. He wanted to give up. He just, you know, it's unfortunate that boxing puts a pressure on fighters with tickets. And, you know, there's some promoters, it's about ticket deals. Some promoters will, you know, help you with sponsorship and, you know, give you a better ticket deal. Some will give you a wage, you know. So he done what he done, and he had 8 bouts, and he said, you know, can I kind of have a little chat with you? Nothing in particular. I think he just wanted to talk about what should he do, where should he go. So he sat down and we had a talk, and he just said, I don't want to do it anymore. You know, it's hard selling tickets, and he's trying to work and trying to get the hours in to train. And I just said to him, don't give up, you know. And I said, you know, are you still training with the old crowd? And he said, no, you know, I've walked away from it all. So I said, look, don't make no commitment to me. Come and work with me for a few weeks and see how you get on. If you start getting that buzz back and you feel, oh, you know what, this feels good, I'm feeling comfortable, I think I can get something from being here. And he started working. And yeah, after a few weeks, he just said to me, goes, I'm feeling it. You know, I got the buzz back. And I said to him, you know, I kind of give him a direction of who to sign with, because he needed belts and he needed 10 rounders behind him, and he hadn't actually produced any of that, and he hadn't actually stopped anybody. So in my head, my job was to line up a Southern Area title, to get an English title, to get a stoppage or 2 under our belt. And, you know, we were working with Steve Goodwin, and the belts were, you know, Steve had negotiated the belts, and, you know, we got ourselves into a position. And with the Southern Area, I think Yaz, we put a stamp on his career with that Aaron Prosper fight. That was the stamp, because Aaron Prosper was made a big deal about. No disrespect to him, he's a good boxer. But, you know, my boxer's better. And I have to have that belief, otherwise what's the point of me being a coach? So when that fight come up, a lot of people were negative. Yeah, it's a hard fight, shouldn't take it, or don't think you're going to get that, don't think you're going to win it. And I just said to Yaz, he bleeds the same as you do, you know, but is he going to work as hard as you? Is he going to get pushed as hard as you? And I'm militant, and there are people out there that will critique the way I coach, that I push too hard. You know, I'll say, you know, when you're in camp, forget your kids, forget your wife, forget your girlfriend, forget your family. You're in camp, and you're in camp for a reason, because you chose to be a professional boxer. So as hard as it sounds, and as bitter as it sounds, it's fact. Because if you bring all of them realms into your training camp, your mind drifts to 1,000 different places where I can't afford that. I need the focus there. So we got into gear, we worked hard, and I studied Aaron over and over and over. And we brought certain things into the camp, and he absolutely executed every part of what we done. The close game, he tore it apart. The far game, tore it apart. Defensively, tore it apart. Movement, tore it apart. Stamina, tore it apart. Physicality, tore it apart. We worked on everything. Everything was right. And we stopped. They retired him in the 9th round. We won with a stoppage. We won the Southern area. And then we had a couple of fights in between. He got another stoppage. And then we had the English title. And the English title was, should he have fought for it? No. At that particular time. He damaged his hand, the hand got better, but it still wasn't 100%.
Right, just picking this back up. English title.
English title. So he shouldn't have taken it. He had damage on his hand. We recovered the hand, but I think we could have done with a couple of more months. So we went to the fight, and unfortunately I had someone else fighting the same night at Wembley. So I went to that, got the fight sorted out, got in the car, and just as Yaz was walking out of the changing room, I turned up. And Yaz didn't have me there to do the pads, he didn't have me to do the hand wraps, he didn't have the vibe we have in the changing room. And you know, when he saw me, I actually, that day I knew how important I was to him. That it was like a light coming on. He was like, oh, you're here. He went out. Didn't know he broke it, but he said my hand really hurts in the 4th. And then the 6th round, he said my other hand's hurting. And lo and behold, he had, I think his left hand was broken and his right hand, he had ligament damage. So 3 of the ligaments come off of the knuckle at that time. He still fought through it. And you know, when you do break a hand or you rip a ligament, it's even trying to pick your hand up, it's trying to defend yourself, it's trying to throw punches, it's trying to deflect punches off your hand. The pain is on another level. And he went through it and he beat him. So he literally won that English title from the 4th with one hand, from the 6th with both hands were out of action. Now the 10th round I told him he was losing. And I said, go out there. He threw for 2.5 minutes with 2 broken hands. It's another level, you know, and I know there are boxers that's probably done it out there, but I have never had a boxer under me who's gone through, and I actually don't know any professional boxers in my circle that have ever gone through anything like that, you know. So it was a fight that shouldn't have happened, but it did, and because it did happen, there's the bigger journey for him. So from there, he decided, he had a chat with me one day and he said, look, I'm not built for this small hall, selling tickets and all this palaver. And I said, no problem. I said, look, best thing to do is ring your manager. Let's sit down, have a chat with him and do it man to man. We won't do it, you know, behind phone calls and all the rest of it. So he went and he just explained that, you know, he doesn't think that small halls for him, ticket sales are for him. He needs that media presence, he needs more media interviews, he needs to be on TV. So he had a deal offered to him. We bought ourselves out of the manager we were with. He had a deal offered to him which didn't quite pan out, and I called Mr. Clark, Johnny Clark. I built up a relationship with him. I was introduced to him by another coach called Marley. Met Johnny, and it was like that. There was a spark. He's there whenever you need him. He answers all the questions. He delivers everything to the plate. Doesn't talk about things. He does it. So we sat down and worked out a deal, and we're on the zone. First fight out, we're on the zone. We get a stoppage in the 6th round. You know, the lad, he was a southpaw, he was awkward, he'd come to fight. and we were out there to do the rounds, you know. And I don't know if you were watching that day, but I was a little bit panicked because obviously his hands. I didn't quite know what way everything was going to go, and all that was in my head was I just want to get him out of that ring, take the hand wraps off, and see if his hands are okay. And lo and behold, they were. And Johnny's, you know, said, "Look, we'll defend the English," and he's set up this fight. Board have approved it, and we've got a British eliminator, and we've got a Commonwealth Gold eliminator bolted onto that. And we're thinking, lovely, we're going to be co-main event. And then he rings me up a couple of weeks later, and he's like laughing his head off, and he goes, "Guess what? Guess what? Guess what?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "How would you like the WBO European title?" And I ain't going to swear. I said, "You are kidding me."
Yeah.
And he goes, No. He goes, "If you want it, we can get it." And I said to him, "Yeah, whatever it takes, Johnny." And obviously Johnny's spoken to Yaz and his team of sponsors, and you know, they've worked out whatever the finances are. I don't get involved in all of that. And then he's rung me back and he's confirmed it. And it's, you know, Yaz goes out and wins this fight in style and puts on a show. He's retained his English. He's a WBO European champion, which then will get him in the top 15 ranking. He's then done an eliminator for the British. He's done an eliminator for the Commonwealth Gold. How many doors are opening? 2 fights with Johnny Clark, twice on TV, and we're fighting for a WBO European title. What more can Yaz want? And 3 years ago, he was going to quit. You know, and on November the 30th, it's going to be, the door's cracked at the moment, but that door's going to get booted open. We're going to boot that door open so everybody sees who Yaz is, you know. And people can comment on his last fight, on his English title, and oh, he's not that good, and he's this and he's that. He had 2 broken hands, done 10 rounds. He won a belt, you know, speaks volumes. But when Yaz is firing 100%, he's trouble. The super lightweight division, he is trouble, you know. So it's exciting times, you know, real exciting times, and just, I can't wait.
No, I can hear the excitement, I can hear the passion, I can hear how proud you are.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the, obviously you can't give the game plan away, but some of the refinements you're looking to make for Yas going into this fight.
I won't go into too much detail, but our camp has changed totally. The structure of the camp is totally different. We're working 5 hours a day, every day without fail. We're splitting most days over three sessions. We have brought in, we're doing strength and conditioning a couple of times a week. We do obviously our bag work, our shadow work, and something we're really bolted in tough this time, and it's regimental this time, is Pilates. We've brought it in, and luckily for Yaz, and even more lucky for me, my partner is a Pilates instructor, and it's making a massive difference, you know. So we're working a lot on rotation work, to not exhaust ourselves, you know, with energy. It's just we're using the rotation of the body to fire the shots and not shooting from the shoulders. You know, we're working on speed, foot movement. Last week he sparred, I think 8 rounds one day, and it was all movement, you know, constant movement. It's, you know, for me, boxing's a dance. You know, go out there and dance. Don't go out there, stand still and take lumps out of yourself as much as the person in front of you. Dance, pick the shots off, and be smart about what you do. Because I'd like Yaz to still be boxing at 35, 36 and not have to give up when he's 33, 34, because he's had a numerous amount of tough fights, you know. So, yeah, rotation strength, core strength, you know, more punching technique. more movement. So we're trying to settle the feet a little bit where he's not tripping over himself or anything's uncomfortable. So it's just drills. So you're going to see magic. Believe me, you're going to see magic.
I do, and I know you're waiting to train him now, so we'll definitely end it here. But what I want to say is, again, I love the passion, the journey you've come from being where you, like you said, you was ill. Thankfully now you're better. Now just creating this environment. We've had some of the fighters come in, so we had to stop the interview. You can see the excitement as well in this place, and I think it's a very good atmosphere. But I'm excited to see you and Yas on the 30th of November. I will be there, and so loads of other people and drones of support. But again, thank you so much for your time, Andy, and we'll catch up again.
God bless, my brother.